In this video, we're going to talk about how to find solutions to linear equations. First, we're going to talk about how to find any solutions, and then second, we're going to find very specific solutions. And then the third thing we're going to do is find x and y intercepts from an equation, which are just special solutions to equations. Let's take a look at this example. It says find 3 solutions to the equation graphed at the right. And hopefully you remember that a line is just a picture of all of the solutions to an equation. In this case, we don't know what the equation is. We don't know what the rule is that pairs the x's with the y's, but we can take a look at, it looks like it crosses this intersection here, which is at -7, 6, 7, 8. And it looks like it crosses right here, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it looks like it crosses here, which is 7, 0. I've marked here. So 3 solutions would be -7 and 8 is a solution. This is one solution. The second solution that I see is 0, 4. And then the third solution that I see is 7, 0. But these are just the 3 of the solutions that I see. And it said find 3. And so I did that. Let's take a look at another example. It says find 3 solutions to the equation below. When it's written like this is a pretty simple rule to understand. When I add my x's and my y's together, I should get 10. It forms another line. And here's another solution, and here's another. I could find infinitely many solutions. Look at me finding all of these solutions to this line. Now, this is a pretty easy way to graph x plus y equals 10. Just coming up with solutions that equal to 10. And you can use this trick all the way through college math. If you aren't sure what the shape of an equation would look like as a graph, you can always fall back on this finding solutions. Just start putting things in for x and figuring out what y should be so that it makes the equation true. But yeah, you can just fall back on plugging in numbers for x and figuring out what y is to make the equation true, and that'll give you a pretty good idea what the shape of the graph should be. Let's take a look at another example. All right, I'm going to find 3 solutions to this equation, y equals 1/2 x plus 2. So you'll notice this one's a little bit different. First of all, it's got a fraction. And second, the x and the y aren't added together to get me 2. I have to take 1/2 of whatever x is and add 2, and that will give me y. Now, I'm going to teach you an easier way to graph lines really soon, but baby steps, my little newborn mathematicians. At the heart of the graphing, it's just finding solutions to the equation. So I'm going to choose x's that are easy to take a half of, and I'm going to do, let's say x is 4. Okay, what would y be that would be a solution to this equation? So 1/2 of 4 plus 2. In this case, it has to be y. That's what it says. So 1/2 of 4 is 2, plus 2 is 4. So y is also 4. So if I put 4 in for y and 4 in for x, I'm going to get a true statement. I found one solution, 4, 4. It's not always the same x and y. So let's pick another number that's also easy to take half of. Let's try 2. So y equals 1/2 of 2 plus 2. So y equals 1/2 of 2 is 1 plus 2 is 3. So 2, 3 pairs together. All right, let's do one more. How about, let's do 6. So over here, I'm going to write my 6, and I got to figure out what y is that will make this equation true. So 1/2 of 6 plus 2, y equals 1/2 of 6 is 3, plus 2 is 5. Okay, so again, if I put 6 in for x and y in for 5, I'm going to get a true statement here. It's going to say 5 equals 5. Okay, so let me graph those points, and you can see 2, 1, 2, 3, and then 6, 5. There's my line. Do you see that? There's my line. All right, moving on. Okay, so on the last example, I was just picking any random x and y. Now we're going to find very specific solutions. So for a new equation, y equals negative 2x plus 1, complete the ordered pairs below. So I want to figure out what y is when x is 1. So y equals negative 2 times 1 plus 1. Y equals negative 2 plus 1. Negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. Now, what about if I have a y and I got to try to find out what x is? So I put 3 where the y is, because remember this is x, y. And now I have an equation that I remember how to solve, hopefully. I'm going to put my 1, switch sides, switch signs over here, and make it minus. 3 minus 1 is 2, equals negative 2x, and then divide by negative 2. So x equals negative 1. And that's going to make this equation true. If I put negative 1 right here, now I know negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2 plus 1 is 3 over here on this side, which does equal 3, of course. Let's do the same thing with 9. 9 equals negative 2x plus 1. 9 minus 1 equals negative 2x. 8 equals negative 2x. X equals negative 4. And again, I can plot those. 1, negative 1, negative 1, 3, negative 4, 9, and it should fall on a line. And I just saw that my line was crooked, and I know this is supposed to be linear, and that's because I made a mistake in plotting my point. It's 1, negative 1. 1, negative 1. Now it makes a straight line. Excellent. All right. Now, find two solutions to 4x plus 7y equals 28 in order to create the graph of this line. So what could we do to find two solutions to 4x plus 7y equals 28 in order to graph? So it's not just x plus y equals 28 this time. It's 4 times something plus 7 times something is 28. There are two solutions that are really easy to find. And that is the solutions where x is 0 and where y is 0. So if you're trying to graph 4x plus 7y equals 28, you can find these two solutions, the one where x is 0 and the one where y is 0, and those are pretty easy to find. So let's do that. So 4 times 0, this is for the first one, 7y equals 28. So of course that's 0. And if I subtract 0, I'm just going to get 28. So hopefully you can see, I know it looks like a lot of steps, but when I use 0, this term is going to go away. And basically you're just going to take 28 divided by 7. So what it's equal to divided by the coefficient of y. So y is 4. It's just a coincidence that it also happens to be the coefficient of x. So 4x, let's find the second one here, equals 28. Or x, again, this is all just going to go away, just like because 4 times 0 is 0. So 7 times 0 is 0. And if I add 0 to 28, I'm going to get 0. X is 7. And that doesn't always happen, that they're just switched of what the coefficients are, so don't fall back on that. Okay, so 0, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 0. There we go. I'm actually going to draw the line. Poof, magic, there it is. Okay, so this is called the y-intercept because it's where the line crosses the y-axis, and this is called the x-intercept. So by finding the x and y intercepts where the line crosses the y-axis and the x-axis, you can quickly graph the line. So if it says to find the x-intercepts, that's going to be, this one is going to be the x-intercept. It says find the y-intercept, this one is the y-intercept, and use that to graph. Find the x-intercept and y-intercept of the line which has the equation y equals negative 4x plus 9. What that's asking you to do is find the two solutions where this is actually the x-intercept. No, sorry, this is the y-intercept, where x is 0, and this is the x-intercept. So when it says find the x-intercept, you're going to find the solution where y is 0, where that y-intercept is where the x is 0. So when it says find the x and y-intercept, this is what you do. Find these two solutions, 0, comma, a number, and then a number, comma, 0. So let's do that really quick. Y equals negative 4 times 0 plus 9. That just becomes y equals 9. The x-intercept, we're going to put 0 where the y is. This is the y. And we're going to have to subtract 9 over to the other side. Move him over to the other side and get negative 9. And then we're going to divide by negative 4. Two negatives are going to cancel out. So we're going to have 9/4 is my x-intercept. 9, I can squeeze it in there. 9/4. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so the y-intercept is at 9. 6, 7, 8, 9. See, it's on the y-axis. And then the x-intercept, okay, see, you wouldn't be able to tell that from the graph. You have to use the equation because it's in between 2 and 3. It's going to be some kind of fraction, and you wouldn't know what that was exactly without using the equation to find it. Couple of key points to finding the x and y intercepts from an equation. First, when you find what x equals and y equals, don't lose track of your purpose. You are finding two separate points with 0 as the other part of the coordinate. They are not the slope. We haven't talked about the slope yet. These are not the only x and the only y. There are many x's and y's that are solutions to this equation. So be specific in your mathematical discourse. You are finding the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Small change in words is a big difference in meaning. Okay, so this is one way that you can graph an equation by finding the x and y intercepts. We'll talk about other ways to graph an equation at a later day. So for now, you found one way to graph an equation by finding two solutions to the equation.